Hello dear students, hopefully you're well-being. Today we are going to take the rest of basic sentence patterns, namely from pattern 6 to pattern 9. Pattern 6 consists of an and intransitive verb, which stands for INV. For instance, girls smile. This pattern consists of just two things. Girls stands for an, this is the subject of the sentence, and smile is the verb, and the type of this word is intransitive verb. What's the meaning of intransitive verb? Intransitive verb is the one that can stand alone with its subject. An intransitive verb is self-sufficient and it can stand alone with its subject, with meaning, of course. Let's see those examples. The sportsman fished and the sportsmen were fishing. Both of those sentences are regarded or belong to pattern 6. Here fished is intransitive verb, and also here fishing is where fishing here is intransitive verb, and where here is an auxiliary. It can be modified by words and word groups known as adverbs and adverbials. Sometimes the sentence attached to adverbial or adverb, and it also belongs to pattern 6. The sportsman fished early. Early here is an adverb. The sportsmen were fishing in the stream. In the stream is regarded as an adverbial. The sportsmen were fishing when we drove up. When we drove up, here is regarded as an adverbial also. So those three sentences still belong to pattern 6 because they have intransitive verb. In the first sentence, fished, fishing, and fishing. In the second and third. The subject of the verb in pattern 6 and also in pattern 7, 8, and 9, which we are going to take later, has the grammatical meaning of performer of the action. So here the subject of those sentences, the sportsman for example, is the performer of the action, is the performer of the action which is fishing. So the sportsman do the action of fishing. Turn to pattern 7. Pattern 7 consists of three things. The superscript of pattern 7 consists of N1, transitive verb, here we have transitive verb, and N2. Let's see the example below. The girl bought a dress. The girl here is a noun and it is the subject of the sentence. Bought here is regarded as transitive verb. Address is N2. So here we have N1 and N2. N1 the girl, N2 address, and bought is an intransitive verb. A transitive verb, sorry. The verb is completed by a noun. What's the meaning of transitive verb? Transitive verb is the one that cannot be or that can't stand alone. It needs a noun to complete its meaning. The verb is completed by a noun, and this noun sometimes can substitute by a pronoun. For example, him, her, it, them. The verb is completed by a noun or pronoun, for which one can substitute him, her, it, or them. So sometimes we substitute this noun and to by a particular pronoun. For example, him, her, it, or them. And to is called the direct object of the verb and has the grammatical meaning of andagawa of the action or that affected by the verb. So here, أنتو, the grammatical meaning of أنتو is what? أنت جوا of the action or that affected by the verb. The direct object is easily identified by three criteria. How can we identify the direct object in a sentence? We have three criteria by which we can identify this. It consists of a noun or word group that is a noun equivalent. Sometimes consists of a noun or a word group. This word group is equivalent or is a noun equivalent. It follows the subject plus verb phrase. The second noun or the direct object follows the subject plus verb phrase. So it comes after the subject plus verb phrase. It can normally be made the subject of a passive verb. For example, the coffee was poured. The origin of this sentence is what? The waiter poured the coffee. And it becomes like that. The coffee was poured by the waiter. So it can normally be made the subject. So sometimes the direct object can be made as or can be regarded as the subject of a passive verb or in the form of passive or in a case of passive verb form. With two kinds of pronouns, however, the direct object does have the same referent as the subject. The direct object sometimes has the same referent as the subject. Let's see how. One is the set of self-salvus pronouns, generally known as reflexive pronouns. These occur as direct object in sentences like, for example here, she saw herself. Herself is a direct object and also is a reflexive pronoun. So here they have the same referent, she and herself. They have the same referent. They are referring to the same person. The second example, the lifeguards splashed themselves. The lifeguards and themselves have the same referent. They are referring to the same group of people. The other set consists of reciprocal pronouns. What's the meaning of reciprocal? Like each other and one another, which function as direct objects in such sentences as, for example here, they found each other. Each other is regarded as reciprocal pronouns. We call this kind as reciprocal pronouns. So here each other also has the same referent with they. They and each other have the same referent and they related to each other, or they are talking about the same group of people. They fought one another. One another also is regarded as reciprocal pronoun and also related to they. They and this one another, talking about the same group of people. Note: most English verbs are both transitive and intransitive, and relatively few are transitive only or intransitive only. So English verbs in general, on the one hand, can be regarded as transitive, and on the other can be regarded as intransitive. The same verb sometime can be considered as transitive and another time can be regarded as intransitive. Let's see those examples. She sang beautifully. Sang here is regarded as intransitive because it's followed by adverb and it can stand alone with meaning with its subject she. The second one, she sang a beautiful folk song. Sang here is transitive verb because it isn't completed the meaning, so it needs another noun. She sang a beautiful folk song. A beautiful folk song is a noun, so this verb needs a complement or needs a noun to complete its meaning. Now is regarded as transitive verb, the same verb, sang and sang, but here is regarded as transitive and in the first sentence regarded as intransitive. Turn to pattern 8. The superscript of noun 8 consists of N1, transitive verb, N2, and N3. We have 3 N's and we have 4 things in this pattern. The mother bought the girl a dress. The mother is noun 1. Bought is transitive verb. The girl is N2 or noun 2. And address is N3 or noun 3. In pattern 8, there are 7 matters to be observed. Here we have 7 matters to be observed. Let's see what are they. Number 1, N1, N3, and N3s, N2 and N3s indicate that each noun has a different referent. Each one of those has a different referent. For example, mother and the girl and address, they are not related to each other and each one of them has a different referent. So each one of them are 3 separate entities. Mother, girl, and address are 3 separate entities. Each one of them is entity itself. We see 2 grammatical objects after the verb bought. Here we have 2 grammatical objects. This is object and also this is object, the girl and address. These 2 objects are called in order the indirect and the direct object. So here girl, it's indirect object and dress is what? The direct object. Indirect the girl and dress is indirect object. Direct object. The indirect object may often be replaced by a prepositional phrase beginning with 2 or 4 or occasionally with a different preposition. Let's see how. For example, he sold a student a ticket. He sold a ticket to the students. So sometimes they can be replaced by a prepositional phrase beginning with 2 or 4. Here, this is a prepositional phrase beginning with 2. He sold a ticket to the students. But the origin of the sentence, he sold the student's ticket. This is indirect object. We're talking about the indirect object. So here, a student is indirect object. He bought them a playpen. He bought them a playpen. It becomes he bought a playpen for them. For them or them here is indirect object. And it comes like that. He bought a playpen for them. So this is an prepositional phrase start with for. He played me a game of chess. Played me a game of chess. And it becomes here me is indirect object. He played a game of chess with me. And it becomes what? A prepositional phrase start with. He asked her a question. Her here is indirect object. He asked a question and becomes like that. He asked a question of her. A question of her here is a pronoun. Occasional different preposition, sometimes different preposition. Here it's different preposition of. It's not to or with. The verbs that can be used in Part 8 are in a restricted group. Some of the common ones are give, make, find, tell, buy, write, send, ask, play, build, teach, assign, feed, offer, throw, and hand, pass, sell, pay. So the verbs that can be used in Part 8, they are restricted. Some of them are those. In Part 8, sentence may be transformed into the passive by making either the direct or the indirect object the subject of the passive verb. For example, let's be back to our original sentence. This one. The mother bought the girl a dress. This is our original sentence. And we can make a passive form of this sentence. A dress was bought the girl by her mother. And here, one of the object become a subject of the sentence, which is what? A dress. The second one, the girl was bought a dress by her mother. This is also a passive form, and one of the object becomes the subject of the sentence. In Part 8, sentence may be transformed into the passive by making either the direct or the indirect object the subject of the passive. Here, the direct object becomes the subject, and here the girl indirect object becomes a subject of the sentence. Here's a note. In some cases, however, the passive transform does not sound fully natural and seems to demand a preposition, as in, the sergeant found the recruit a rifle. Here, a rifle was found for the recruit. Here, for it needs, because, or it is needed, because to reserve or to keep the natural meaning of the sentence. Number 6, the grammatical meaning of the indirect object is beneficiary of the action of the verb plus direct object. The grammatical meaning of the indirect object which is noun 2, is what? Reveals what? Or conveys the meaning of beneficiary of the action of the verb plus direct object. Number 7, if a pronoun is used in the position of the direct object, means any three, it must be the first of the two objects. If we use pronoun in the position of the direct object, this direct object must be the first of the two objects. For example, here the mother bought it for the girl. This is right, and it is absolutely right, but we can't say the mother bought the girl it. So the direct object should be the first of the two objects. The direct object, which is what? Here, if it is replaced by a pronoun, here we replace it by it. It should be the first of the object, not the second, because if we put it in the second position, the sentence will be grammatically incorrect, like this one. Similarly, if N2 and N3 are both pronouns, again, the direct object must occur first. If we have the direct and indirect object, both of them are pronouns. The direct object should be first. The mother bought it for her. It here is the direct object, and here it's indirect pronoun. And we can't say the mother bought her it. This is wrong. The mother bought it for her. This is absolutely or totally right, whereas this sentence is grammatically incorrect because the direct object should be first. Let's turn to the last pattern, which is part 9. Consists of N1, transitive verb, and 2 plus one of those things. Let's see what are they. N2 plus N2. So N2, and also it recurs or it repeats N2. Or AJ, which means adjective or adjectivals. Number 3, pronoun. And number 4, AV, which is adverb of a place, uninflected. Number 5, verb. The kind of this verb is a present participle. And number 6, verb, but the kind of this verb is past participle. Number 7, prep phrase, which means a prepositional phrase. And the last one, infinitive phrase with to be. Let's see, or let's take an examples of each case of those. Part 9 contains a choice of 8 different forms in the final position. So the final position of this pattern consists of 8 choices. For example, the basketball team choose Charlotte captain. This is a noun or a name of a person, and captain also. They have the same referent, so they are. This Charlotte is noun 1 and 2. Sorry, here and 2, and captain and 3. They are referring to the same person. So the basketball team choose Charlotte captain. Charlotte and captain, they are referring to the same person. So this is N2 and N2 also. Look, N2 and N2. The second one, he considered her brilliant. He considered her brilliant. Her and brilliant referring to the same person, but brilliant here is what? An adjective. So N2 plus adjective. N2 plus adjective, and adjective here is brilliant. The third one, I thought the caller you. The caller and you. Also, this is N2, and here you is referring to the same referent, but you is regarded as a pronoun. So N2 plus pronoun. N2 plus pronoun, and this is its example. You. I thought the caller you. Number 4, we supposed him upstairs. We supposed him upstairs. This is N2, him, and upstairs is an adverb of place. This is an adverb of place, upstairs. AV of place, adverb of place. Move to number 5. I imagined her eating. I imagined her eating. Here is N2 also, and eating is a verb. And this kind of verb is what? Is a present participle. Present participle. This one. Turn to number 6. 6. I believed him seated. Him also N2, and seated is a verb, but which kind of verb? Is a past participle. Past participle. Number 7. We considered her in the way. We considered her in the way. In the way is regarded here as a prepositional phrase. In the way is a prepositional phrase, and this is N2. The last one. We thought Chico to be a fine player. To be a fine player, all of those words are regarded as what? Infinitive phrase with to be. This is an infinitive phrase, starts with to be a fine player. So in part 9, we have 8 choice of the last position, part 9 and 1 transitive verb and 2, but after the and 2 we have 8 different choices, and 2 adjective or adjectival, pronoun, adverb of place, verb in the kind of present participle, verb in the form of past participle, prepositional phrase, and infinitive phrase with to be. We have finished the rest of basic sentence pattern. Thanks, and we will meet each other soon, inshallah.